Hi, my name is Richard Curtis. I work for Adobe. I'm a solutions consultant in the UK focused on digital imaging. Today we're going to talk about Lightroom, and we're going to talk about how to create a catalogue and take control, and we're also going to talk about how to import pictures from our memory card. So let's do that very quickly now. Let's go and tell Lightroom how to create a new catalogue. You may want to create multiple catalogues for many different reasons. It may be that you're a wedding photographer and you'd like to have your pictures brought into a different catalogue and not your main portfolio catalogue. So it's important to know how to make a catalogue, but it's also important to know where to put the pictures and where to put the catalogue. So let's go do that now. If we go into Lightroom, under the File option we have New Catalogue. I want to put this catalogue on the desktop of this local computer. Now I would recommend that the catalogue should always exist on the local computer, not on an external drive or not on a NAS drive or anywhere else on your network. That can cause performance issues. As long as you know where you put it, that's the most important thing. So let's go and create a new folder on my desktop to contain the catalogue. The folder name I'm going to use is Workshop 1. Press Create. It moves me into that folder, and I'm then going to create my catalogue called Workshop 1. And press Create. What happens is Lightroom will close down now and automatically open the new catalogue ready for me to start importing my pictures or my videos. So now we've got the catalogue created, let's go import some pictures from the memory card. You can see that Lightroom's completely empty, and this is the way it should be when you've just installed the product. So it's really nice and easy to get started. And it's really easy to use following these very simple steps. We'll get into more complex items later in a different session. I want to check that Lightroom's ready to accept the memory card when I put it into the memory card reader. I want to be able to have Lightroom automatically recognize I've put a card in there, and it's going to automatically bring up the import dialog. Under the Preferences menu in Lightroom, you have the General tab, and under the General tab you have the Show Import Dialog when memory card is detected, which when ticked will do exactly what it says. As soon as I put this card in, the import dialog will be displayed and I can start importing pictures. So let's just put this in now and try it. So I'm putting the card in my memory card reader. Notice that this is plugged into the computer on the USB. And I'm just going to put it into my memory card reader. Once it's been recognized, Lightroom then picks it up and will then show me the import dialog. On the left hand side of the screen you can see that it's importing from the camera that I've used to take those pictures. You can also see other drives that are attached to my computer, including my local hard drive. We'll come back to that in a different session. If I look at the top section of the screen, I can see Copy as DNG, Copy, Move and Add. Now notice that Copy is the only one I can select, and that's because Lightroom knows I want a copy from this memory card to another place on my computer or within my environment. I'll look at Add and Move in a different session, but this is just a basic session to get you up and running with importing pictures. You can see I have all my pictures selected. That's because I have ticks next to them. That means they will all be selected as part of the import and will all come through. If at any point in time I want to remove those pictures from the import, I can by pressing check. If I want to include them all again, I can press check all and they will all come through. I may want to see the picture before I import it, so I can press the single view mode, and you see now there's a picture on the screen taking up the whole screen, and I can press the arrow key left to right and I can navigate through those pictures. It tells me in each picture that I'm going to include it as part of the import. I can turn back to grid mode by clicking the grid or by pressing the G key, and you can see there that I'm back to where I started. I'm just going to uncheck all of them and show you how to select individual items and a series of pictures. Say for example you'd like to include pictures 1 and pictures 4. That's really easy in Lightroom to do. You can click on the first point and then click on the last point using the Shift key and a click to highlight all those pictures, and then you see the little checkbox icon. If I click that, they all will be selected. They will all be importable as part of the import process. I may need to bring in a single picture from a different place within my grid, and I can do that just by selecting and clicking on the image in the checkbox that I'd like to bring in. And you can see there now that I have more pictures that I'm going to bring in. but I want to check them all and bring them all in. So I click check all. Now, on the right hand side of the screen, there's my destination. This is where Lightroom is going to put those files. You can see here that it's going to put it on my Macintosh HD, on my desktop computer. Now, I would recommend that you put them on another drive, an external drive maybe. You can put them on a local computer and that's fine, but at some point you will start to run out of space. And running out of space isn't good for a computer. It means that things start slowing down. So I would always recommend you put it on an external drive. That means that you're a bit more portable and you can have multiple drives as well for backups and this type of thing. We'll come on to that in another session. We'll cover backups a little bit in this session as well. I just want to click on here and show you this. You can see predefined places to put those pictures. It could be on my desktop or my pictures folder or another destination. I'm just going to leave that blank for now and just come back and move away from that selection. On the file handling, you can see on the first option you have render previews. This will create the little thumbnails that Lightroom will use to show you the picture when you see it in the grid mode. You may also want to create a standard preview. This will take a little bit more time, but you'll get a better resolution picture when you're looking at it inside Lightroom when you're editing the picture. And a one-to-one is a full-size render, which will take even more time but better quality. Build smart previews is something we'll come to a later stage. Don't import suspected duplicate is a brilliant way of keeping a clean catalogue. Anything with the same name or date or time or anything that Lightroom thinks is a duplicate image that it's going to import, it will automatically not import it into my catalogue for me. So it keeps it really clean. So if I tick that on. Now I may also want to back up my pictures. And you could do backup in pictures in a different way. You could import them all to your drive and then you could manually copy them to another place. You may also want to use a backup system to do that. But I've found, especially when you're out in the field, it's nice to do it as part of the import process. So to make a second copy and a backup, you can just turn this on and you'll see that the location then gets enabled. I can click on the location, at which point then I can choose a different hard drive or a different place to put my backup, and Lightroom will automatically put them into that place at the same time as the import. Just cancel that for now and just tick that off because I'm not doing a backup at this point in time. But I strongly recommend you look into the backup as well because it ensures you've got multiple places for your pictures just in case something happens to the drive or to the pictures. Just close this down by clicking on the little arrow and that closes that down. You can also rename the files coming in. You may want to rename them not just by file name as they come out of the camera, but you may want to rename them something more meaningful. So let's have a look at that just now. If I click on rename files, I can look at the templates, and the first template I park on is the file name, which will just bring in the file name from the camera. But it may be that I want to bring in make a custom name or make a shoot name, but I can edit that very easily. I can click on the edit option and it takes me into the template editor, at which point I have different combo boxes that I can use to create a new file name. So for example, I may want to change the file name as they're being brought in to maybe be the make of the camera. Now, I would normally, personally, keep just the file name and then I would find the pictures later using keywords or something about the picture that I already know, which may be the f-stop or location or something like that. But it's just to show you how you can create a different file name template when they're being brought in through Lightroom. I'll just cancel that for now and I'm just going to leave that off. This is probably one of the most important tabs I think inside Lightroom for when you're importing pictures. The development settings will allow you to put a preset on your picture. Now, Lightroom is non-destructive, which means at any point in time nothing will get damaged. It won't change the core digital file. All the edits inside Lightroom are what's called metadata edits, and they're just stored separate to the main file. You can create your own presets, you can buy them from the internet, and they might give you a different look and feel. It might be that you want to bring the pictures in and make them more black and white. So there's different ways of doing that, and that's something we can explore in a different session. Typically, I want to bring them in without any adjustments applied because I want to see them as they came out of the camera and then make a decision on what I want to do with it and then add some creative elements to that. So I'm going to leave that as none. The metadata tells Lightroom extra information to apply to the pictures but about me as a photographer. So I'm just going to edit presets. I'm going to look at my current preset I use. Now this preset exists on my studio machine as well as my work machine. So everywhere is exactly the same. So all my pictures are exactly the same. So I go to Rich, and you can see in here that I have my copyright information and I have my website address. There's lots of other pieces of information in there that you can put as well. You could put your home address, you could put, you could go into this every single time and put adjustments based upon the information you're bringing in. I like to keep it fairly simple myself and just have my name and my contact details on there. And press done, and then I can update that if I need to update that, if I've changed it. When I'm importing these pictures, you can see there's a whole load of different pictures in there. Now, I may want to bring them all in, but apply a keyword to enable me to find those pictures later. Now, most of these were taken in India and in Bhutan. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to label these as India and Bhutan. You can see there that on some of these pictures we've got dancers, we have forests and trees, we have a kitchen, all different types. But these are more specific about the individual image, and we'll do that later inside Lightroom using keywords, but this is just really for a bulk import. So for the keyword I'm going to type in India. I'll also put a comma to separate the keywords. I'll type in Bhutan. Now if the keyword that I'm typing in already exists inside my keyword list, Lightroom will show me the current keywords based upon the letters that I'm typing. So if, for example, I'm typing Bhutan and I put a B for Bhutan, it will show me everything that starts with B. If I said BHU, it will show me everything that starts with BHU. I can then attribute all my pictures to the same keyword. If I'm trying to find them later in Lightroom, I've got more chance of finding them because I'm using a single keyword. And then we need to choose where we're going to put the pictures when we bring them in. Now, I want to control where I put the pictures, and in this case I want to put them on my external drive. I recommend, again, the pictures on an external drive rather than your main computer. Lightroom will keep a reference on its catalog because the catalog is stored for the previews, it's stored for keywords, metadata, and any adjustments that you make to the picture. But the real pictures will sit on my external drive, and we'll talk about that in a different session about how that works when it's offline and when it's online. So I'm going to close down the Macintosh one on my local machine and go to my external drive, which is a D drive, and I can go in here and you see here I only have one entry, and that's because this drive only has one folder on it. I need to create a new folder for my pictures, so I go to the plus next to my destination and I say create new folder, a new folder, and type in workshop photos and press create. Press choose. You can see there that the folder comes into Lightroom and it enables me now to choose that folder. Now what I want to do though is import multiple memory cards which may have a different location. So I'm going to put them in a different folder, and for this folder I'm going to create one called India and Bhutan underneath the workshop photos. So going to plus, create new folder. It's already in workshop folders, so I can just click on the new folder to create India space and space Bhutan, press create and choose. You can see there that my folder has been created under the workshop photos. If I click on this, the pictures will then get imported into the India and Bhutan folder. Just before we finish, I just want to cover a couple more things on the grid system. You can also change the way the pictures are sorted by choosing capture time, file name, checked state. You can also change the size of the thumbnails as well. And to finally import the pictures, you can press the import button, and you'll see now on the left hand side of the top the status bar is telling me how many pictures it's been brought in and the progress it's been made. You can see as the pictures are being brought in, they're being brought in and populated into the main center console of Lightroom, at which point I can start working on the pictures. But this will just carry on populating the grid system as the pictures get imported. That's how to create new catalogs and to import pictures into Lightroom and get you started with using Lightroom. Thanks very much.